Hello, this is Shecky, aka Jeff Schechter, and along with Mr. Jack Gibson, and welcome to the High Return Real Estate Show, a podcast for heavy hitters. How you doing, Jack?
I'm doing great, Shecky. Always excited to be here talking about real estate investing with you, brother.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so today is really a great show, and it's kind of a fun title. We're going to talk about the long distance relationship. And, as you know, any healthy relationship, and I've had a few, it has to be based on trust.
Had a few?
Well, I had a few.
Probably more than a few.
Well, let's just call it a few. That's a nice, healthy number. But it's got to be based on trust, right? And one of the things that we found in terms of our investing and creating a good long-term relationship with somebody is that good things come in threes, right? So we talked previously about systems, but today's show is great because we're going to be talking about the three cornerstones to automated investing. So there are three items that are mandatory for investing in real estate outside of your hometown. And that's why we call it the long distance relationship, right? But like a table, if you are missing any one of these three, you're not going to remain standing. So today is going to raise some questions for you in your own investing and see if indeed the way that you're investing employs all three of these legs. So the three legs are technology, systems, and team. And we're going to cover each one of those individually. So I'm going to talk first about technology. And Jack, as you know, I'm a big fan of the internet. I find dates online, I find properties online, I make new friends online, and
everybody, all the women think you're 20 years younger than you are. So
let's not give away all my secrets, right? But it affords access. The way that the internet has changed our lives has been pretty amazing, and it's really, really changed the game of real estate investing. Because a lot of barriers have been broken down, right? So we can look at pictures of properties online. We have, instant access to stuff. And, we can look at different websites that give further information. We can look at comps of properties. We can go onto state websites and look at tax rolls, right? I mean, there's just so much information that's available at our fingertips, and even some really great forums that have evolved over the last few years that are really just communities of different real estate investors. And I find that, those can be really great too. I mean, there's a mixed bag of stuff there, but those can be really great as well. So it's pretty exciting, some of the stuff that comes forward just by having the internet at your fingertips. So number one is technology. That really, really allows you to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, 20, 30 years ago, without technology, you wouldn't be able to invest out of state. You are stuck in your local market. And if you're in a local market that's out of control price-wise, where you can't get a great ROI, I mean, you don't really have any other options. So this has really allowed us to go to other markets where it's a lot more, investor friendly. So you're definitely, technology is definitely right up your wheelhouse. Mine, maybe not so much. Yes, you tease me all the time. I have trouble turning on my computer.
You're getting better though. It's exciting.
I'm learning, and I know what my lane is though, and that might be it. So, but one thing is definitely in my lane is number two is systems. Location wise, we already talked about Indianapolis and why that's so strong right now. So I want to go over a few other, criteria that make for a good system. Buying, where you buy your property and what specific neighborhoods certainly makes a huge difference. I mean, you could be one block off in a city And you could have an incredible buy where, your price to rent is incredible, but you also, you're in a lower crime area. You got, really, really nice attributes. Maybe the city, for example, I know in Indianapolis, there's specific areas where they've pledged $88 million. Well, you definitely want to know what neighborhoods those are so that you can be ahead of those instead of buying, after all the, money's been put into them. And then rehabbing. Rehabbing is the most important component, I think, Shecky, to rehabbing successfully is having economies of scale. If you're doing one property at a time, and I know there's people that are successful with that, and certainly that can be a great model for people. But when you have the ability to buy materials in huge bulk amounts, where you're buying, not just a few gallons of paint, but you're buying, the whole store.
You're buying hundreds of gallons of paint and rolls of all the same color carpeting, and it makes a difference.
Huge slats of drywall and studs and, all that. You're definitely going to get a discount on those, pricing on those materials, and that's going to affect the ROI. And that is all I care about is ROI. I want to know, what is my cash flow? What's my return on investment? That's what matters to me, and that's what should matter to you guys. So that's huge when you have 17 construction teams. That makes a big difference of economy of scale. So then placement of tenants, finding good renters, Shecky, is definitely, we found, a very, very important component. You want to hit on that a little bit?
Well, number one is I don't ever want to do that myself.
No interest.
That's the first thing I learned, right? And so that was lesson number one. Even with all the other stupid mistakes over the years, just don't want to be messing with renters, number one. Not to say that they're not great and wonderful people, but from a standpoint of creating some sort of system, and we're talking about systems, we want to employ a management company that not only has been doing it for a long time, but working in those same neighborhoods, right? And that has an existing database of previous renters, knows which signage works, knows which ads work, knows which kind of credit that the renter applying has to have to be able to make for a good tenant. It doesn't necessarily mean perfect credit, but they understand every single one of those nuances to the rental marketplace. Interestingly, just as a side note, just to give an example, we know that the management company that we deal with actually charges about 5% below rental market rates for the properties that they manage for us. Okay. And now obviously people listening to this podcast are going to go, well, why the heck would I want to charge 5% less? Now you're cutting into my ROI, right? Well, the reality is we have found, and they have found over the long haul, that it keeps renters happier. They're moving into a freshly rehabbed property. They're paying 5% less than market rate. And let's face it, when you're in the $650, $700, $750 per month rent category, right, there's some pretty significant price sensitivity on the part of the renters. So when they can look at it and go, heck, I got a freshly rehabbed property that I can move into, and I'm paying 5% less than the one down the block, which isn't freshly rehabbed, I know which one is going to make me happy, right? And so happy tenants create long-term tenants.
Absolutely. Check another important point there. If you can avoid having your property empty for 1 month, just by charging a little bit less, you're going to more than make up for that. So for example, if I want to try to get an extra $50 a month in rent, so I'm charging $50, over, say, market rent, and that takes me an extra month to place a tenant. So then I missed out on, say, $700 in rent. It's going to take me 14 months of additional extra $50 rent per month to make up for that $700 in lost rent that I'll never be able to get back because you can't go back in time. If it's empty, it's empty. So we want to get them rented quickly. That's and then that's why you want to have a good team and a system in place to be able to place renters.
Yeah, and that brings up a really good point about the third leg, which is team, right? So again, there's plenty of other companies out there that say they've got a great team, but we work with some people that are just absolutely incredible, and we never experienced the kinds of returns that we could until we started working specifically with this one team. And so, Jack, I know you've got a lot of, you're pretty passionate about these guys and know them pretty well. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, I mean, Shecky, I looked all over for this for, a year or 2 years. I mean, if I would have known about this team, back in, 2000 when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad and got the vision for investing into real estate, I would have done it then.
And they were around then.
They were around then. I just didn't know about them, right? And then there wasn't the technology, then to have access to being able to find them a lot easier.
Yeah.
So here's the deal, guys. We got 20 years of experience, in this venue of acquiring properties, rehabbing them, putting tenants in place, managing them, taking care of repairs, all the aspects that go into turnkey investing so that you can truly be a passive investor. That's huge. 20 years of experience in, this class of properties. They've seen all the ups and downs of 2007, 2008, and everything else, everything else in between. And then with 17 crews, Shecky, of construction and growing, we have so many properties that are being sold every single month, and they can go in and get them rehabbed. I had a property, a duplex that they got done in 30 days. I couldn't even believe it. Now, that's not always the case. I don't want to paint that picture, but having a huge crew and a very well seasoned and experienced team, they can get these projects done that could take somebody working by themselves, 6-8 months or more.
Oh, yeah. I know that from personal experience when I was doing onesie-twosie stuff down in Texas. And, we had projects that were taking 4 to 10 months, for one project. And, it's just like when you have 17 crews and you've been doing the same things for 20 years and you have all the relationships, it's just a machine. The team itself is a system. So it's just incredible what they've been able to do for us and for our investors. And Jack, both you and I obviously have had, been blessed to be associated with these people and be able to create the kinds of returns that we're doing in our own investing. And it's not just indie. It's what these guys know and what they're capable of doing. And, 20 years of database of renters and 17 crews and all that other kind of stuff. So we've kind of created, not kind of, but we've definitely connected to this perfect trifecta, right? So technology, systems, and teams, right? So let's talk about this trifecta, right? Is it indeed a system that can be automated? And you use the word turnkey, and it brings up kind of a question, and that's a term in the real estate investing world that's thrown around very carelessly in a very cavalier kind of way, right? And I have some different opinions about that, but I don't believe that everybody that's out there that's calling them a turnkey business is really turnkey, right? So what does that really mean? And can you really make automated profits, right? Well, that's a bit of a tease because that's what we're going to talk about in the next High Return Real Estate show, is we're going to talk specifically about what that term means, and what that means from a standpoint of creating automated profits and how much of it is really automated and how much stuff is happening behind the scenes for you, by you, and on your own behalf, and how much stuff do you have to do on your own? Like, what's that sort of little dividing line there? And so that's what we're going to get into on our next show.
Yeah, and I'm excited, Shecky, because my passion is, I love when you say automated profits, residual income, passive income. I love those words. That's what my passion is. So I can't wait to talk about this subject.
Yeah, it's awesome. So anyway, we really appreciate everybody being here. And Jack, as always, I appreciate your insights. But if you want to find out more about the trifecta that we were talking about the three legs, then just simply go to the website, highreturnrealestate.com, just like it sounds. Click on the properties tab. And when you start looking at those individual properties, you'll see some of the automated performance that we've been able to achieve. And just lastly, as just a thought, if you want to begin a long-distance relationship with us, we are happy to do that. And there's a tab on the website which will allow you to do that and book a call with us. So with that said, that is another show in the can, as they call it. And really appreciate you, Jack. And thank you, listeners, for being here. And we'll see you on the next show.
Have a great day, everybody.